Can you talk a little bit about your TEDx talk and how pain has kind of driven you to do what you do today?
Well, absolutely. I'm just a big fan of painful moments, emotional painful moments, because I cannot really control that. Nobody can, right? It's going to happen. They're going to come. Things are going to happen to you, around you, within you, right?
Hmm.
Um, Now, the pain, yes, it has been my bridge to possibilities, right? I think through pain, I have found a way to make justice to the painful moments of people that lives on the street, or my mom remaining empty after giving all her life to work, or how do I make justice to my niece, my 3 years old niece Simona, back then, battling with cancer. How do I make justice to her pain if I don't use
Hmm.
pain to impact other lives? If I don't use pain to learn, to grow, to inspire others, to get out there, to say, "Hey, let's be present. Let's use pain to resolve, to remove suffering from others." Right? So I use that pain as a fuel to find my passion to go.
Hello, and welcome to the Generate Your Value podcast. I'm your co host, Andy McDowell, founder and owner of Generate Your Value, providing self leadership, leadership, and business coaching services for corporate executives and business owners.
And I'm Zach Levy, your other co-host. I run a nationwide financial service business with my wife, Megan.
Together, Zach and I have the intention to bring you tips, concepts, ideas, suggestions, stories, and analogies from A to Z, which will help you to grow your personal brand and leadership skills in such a way that joy, happiness, and success, as you define it for yourself, are achieved.
We hope to use our gifts, talents, and experiences in business and leadership to generate value in your life. And with that being said, let's move to our topic for today.
Hello, and welcome to the Generate Your Value podcast. My name is Andy McDowell, one of your co-hosts for today. The other co-host, my partner in crime, Zach Levy, couldn't join us today. But it's his loss. Trust me when I say it's his loss, because the guest I'm bringing you today, I have no words. I have no words to describe this woman other than maybe saucy. A saucy Argentinian. That's who I'm bringing you today. Sol Alsina is her name. And I guarantee you when we finish, when this podcast episodes finishes, you're going to be shaking your head going, wow, what a spirit.
Mhm.
What a spirit, because she's constantly smiling. She's constantly has a positivity about her and a creativity. And it's palpable, and it's so palpable that when I decided to redo my website this summer, the person I called was Soul, because I knew the outcome and the value I was going to get out of the redesign from Soul and her amazing team's work was just going to be fantastic. So that being said, I'm not going to read her bio. I'm going to let her tell you her story, because it's an amazing story. You wouldn't expect anything less from somebody from Buenos Aires, Argentina. But let's bring her in. Soul,
Well,
welcome to the podcast.
oh my,
Hola.
hola, hola, Andrés. That's your name in Spanish, huh? In Argentine, Andrés, Andy. Oh,
See. I took Spanish. What was it? Junior high school. I took a number of years of Spanish, and so I was always called Andres in class.
Andrés,
So
Andrés. Well,
it's nothing new to me.
no, but the audience may find that name, in Spanish, saucy, right? Just like
Mm-hmm.
right, my energy. Thank you so much for bringing me to your passion, to your purpose, and thank you so much for inviting me to share value as well and generate value,
Mm-hmm.
create value together. It's really a pleasure for me, and thank you for that lovely introduction. So I'm going to be, yeah, being genuine, right? Because that's who I am. My name, it's actually Soledad, which means, if you translate it, right, it
Mm-hmm.
means solitudine. It means loneliness, right? You may say,
Mm-hmm.
"Wow, really?" So instead of letting you know what do I do in my bio, right, I will let you know about my name a little bit, right? But if you look the etymology, right, of the meaning of my name, it really means the abundance of your own presence. So then, when I started to be with my own presence and be my own presence instead of doing many things and living on my titles, I started living on my presence, on my who I am. Who do I want to be? So I want to be Sol. And I started my journey as Soledad. I was named Soledad. But then, since I was a little kid, people, teachers in kindergarten used to call me Sol, which means sun. And yes, if you asking me about my bio, I'm not very interested in actually knowing or asking people what do they do and what do they do for their living and where do they study. No, 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 no. I really want to know profound areas of their lives, right? I
Mm-hmm.
can really connect and bond. And I like to ask the question, what really sustains you from the inside when everything else is actually falling apart? So that's my bio. I am a person that is sustained by the purpose. I'm living by my purpose. I'm living by love. I really, uh, I'm a people oriented person. And when I give myself. That's why the equilibrium so far is being good, because I know that when I give others, I give myself, right? So yes, I'm a good heart, right? Not tell you what I do. I'm a good heart. I'm very proud of
Mm-hmm.
what I have become and that I keep becoming every day. I just love how I make people feel. I am all the time super conscious about every word I pronounce. What are the possibilities that I will invite them to reflect or travel, right? With their own words. I think imagination. When you come from a country like Argentina, or maybe a continent like Africa, or many other countries that are not extremely wealthy, right? Or continents,
Mm-hmm.
imagination, right? Like La Vita è Bella, no? Like the movie, right? That's what really rich. I think being rich is a state of mind. So that
Definitely.
yeah, that being said, that's Sol Alsina from Argentina. Sol Alsina is a woman that loves
Well,
that.
well, why don't you give our listening audience uh, a short history of your background, because you weren't born in Argentina. You actually came from a very passionate, very
Rasta family.
outgoing, living country in Europe called Italy.
Yeah, that is correct. My
So you've got Italian and Latin and just
Yeah, I have a combination of that. When you eat the pasta and it's spicy, that tuco that we say in Italy, right? The
mm-hmm,
red sauce, and the hands. I think the body language is very important, and the tone of voice. And yes, we get
yes,
very passionate in every single hug, word, like everything for us is passion, right? There is passion in even the how we pronounce. So yes, I actually, my mom is Italian, right? My dad
Right.
family is from Spain, and they came after the World War II. Okay, in well, it doesn't matter when. You know, we all remember that, I'm sure. And yes, after painful moments, you know, they decided to be here in this culture that it's extremely open to the world. And we love that about Argentina. We open our hearts to anyone that wants to come to our country. So yes, I'm half Italian, and they started with zero. I would say naked. That's why I don't care what I'm going to be taking when I'm not here anymore, because I came naked and I'm gonna go naked. So yeah, I don't care about things. I care about kisses, and I care about hugs, and I care about words, and I care about moments, and I care about, yeah,
Experiences,
looks. How
connections, relationships.
correcto. Sí, Andres, correct. I care about that. So yes, that's pretty much my background. Very strong mother, powerful woman, business,
Hmm.
actress, entrepreneur. So that's my mom. Yeah, very Italian mom.
Well, why don't you give the audience a little bit of your background in terms of your business journey? Because you're like me, came out of the corporate world, uh, wasn't real satisfied with it, didn't bring you a lot of joy and happiness, right?
Not at all. I was actually, you know, working for Coca-Cola, Lenovo, many other companies that, you know, it seems they are renewed, right? But
Hmm.
I was empty. I was empty, and I was feeling like I was in a prison, because I'm extremely creative. I'm a free spirit, and my mom is an actress. There was a lot of art in my house. My dad was also an entrepreneur. I saw their fights, their battles, being especially my mom's, you know, her battles being a business owner and a woman, right? She got the independence at 40, and one day, you know, after my dad died, I slept with my twin brother and my mom. We were 33 years old. Well, 30
Hmm.
years, in our 30s. And, you know, we didn't want to leave my mom alone. That night, I dreamed that flowers, glycina, right, the Japanese flower, were coming out of my stomach. So next day, it was summertime in Argentina, almost Christmas. I was like a little girl, feeling like I don't know how to say, but like a horse, but from the waters, right? I don't know how to say that in English. It was that the sea horse, right? I was
Hmm.
feeling that it was beautiful, and between crying and happy, I just went there and said, "Mom, I'm so sad," and at the same time, I feel so happy. We don't have that anymore. But what this dream means, what is really all about? And that day, I went and I looked in the dictionary what glycina meant, and it meant succeed in your projects, in your passion,
Hmm.
and to live life. So that the following day, I quit my job and I decided to have my own company. And here we are. We're happy about that painful moment.
And your first company was called Limon.
Yeah, limon, abeja limon, right? Lemon
Mm-hmm.
tea, because my dad used to have a lemon tree in the backyard, right? That he really loved, and you know, hummingbirds. And my mom was the queen of the honey, right? In my house, she was the queen, the hard worker one, the one that lead the family and the business and financial. So I call it lemon bee, you know, to the creativity, and I started to create my own designs without, you know, going to school first because I studied what I was supposed to study. International relations, it was my choice.
Mm-hmm.
Not because I wanted diplomacy, just because I wanted international relations. That's what I choose it, just because of the name and the two words that I really love. International and relations with you.
Relations.
Yeah. Sí, señor.
Well, we'll save your current company for later on in the conversation, but you, like myself and a lot of other people, went on a journey. You're busy with doing, and you went on a journey to find your being.
That's it.
So, where you're sitting today, what would be 5 words that would describe the being of soul?
Andres, Andy, your questions are super, super full of consciousness, awareness. Thank you for that. Okay, let me invite myself.
Well, I would be doing you a disservice to not ask you questions like this.
Opens possibilities, so thank you for
Mm-hmm.
that. Well, I would say that sweetness, romanticism, extremely passionate, sensual, generosity. Are we done with the 5?
Yeah, I'm glad you threw that last one in because generosity, empathy, those type words need to be in there somewhere.
Yes,
And
generosity.
the listening audience is going to understand why as we go through this conversation.
Generosity and sweetness in my emotions. Um, I think that's the 2 words that really save my life daily, right? Generosity and kindness. Yeah, I think generosity, englobes empathy and all of those.
Mm-hmm. So how was that journey for you?
The generosity journey.
No, the journey of discovering your being. Was it difficult? Was it sweet? Was it?
I wouldn't call it difficult. I believe it was deep, extremely uncomfortable, mm, painful, shiny, shining all over the place every time I found myself. I think it's very interesting to see somebody that is finding the being,
Mm-hmm.
and it was never sad. It was that Italian passion of living the uncomfortable moments where you figured out, a couple of things that you need to work, right? And when you're conscious about. And I would say that it was exquisite. I'm a fan of those painful moments. Yeah. People may say that maybe they saw me with drama because I tend to cry, and I cry like an Italian, right? I feel
Mm-hmm.
from the guts. My body feels from the guts that moment where, oh my God, I just realized that. And you can continue the phrase, right? When
Mm-hmm.
you realize the moment of truth. Uh-oh. Yes, exquisite. Makes me feel who I feel today.
So you talked a little bit about that journey in the TEDx talk that you did within the last year,
Mm-hmm.
where you talked about a bunch of words that begin with the letter P. And the first one that you brought out for the audience of that talk was the word pain,
Yes.
and how that pain. I want to be careful the word I choose here, but motivated you or pushed you in that path of finding your being.
Oh, yes. I think,
And as a coach that helps people to find sort of their mission, purpose, why in life, that pathway can generally goes one of two ways. One, it's either through your passions, what brings you joy, would be one path. The other path is the pain path, where you hope and wish that others don't go through that same path that you did, that I did. But we can act as guides, supporters for people that are going to go down that path, where their mission, purpose, why in life is to help and serve others that are going through that same journey for their soul.
beautiful.
Can you talk a little bit about your TEDx talk and how pain has kind of driven you to do what you do today?
Well, absolutely. I'm just a big fan of painful moments, emotional painful moments, because I cannot really control that. Nobody can, right? It's going to happen. They're going to come. Things are going to happen to you, around you, within you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the pain, yes, it has been my bridge to possibilities, right? I think through pain, I have found a way to make justice to the painful moments of people that lives on the street, or my mom remaining empty after giving all her life to work, or how do I make justice to my niece, my 3 years old niece Simona, back then, battling with cancer? How do I make justice to her pain if I don't use pain to impact other lives? If I don't use pain to learn, to grow, to inspire others, to get out there, to say, hey, let's be present. Let's use pain to resolve, to remove suffering from others, right? So I use that pain as a fuel to find my passion, to break free, to shape my purpose. My purpose really sustains me from the inside, right? My being, it really sustains me from the inside. My generosity makes me big. Really, the size of my heart makes me big, and not the size of my wallet or my companies. And really, I can look, I can close the door of my place, and I am not ashamed. I am so peaceful because I use pain to create, to be artistic, to be kind. That's why I feel confident, because I'm kind.
Well, I mean, nobody wants pain in their life. You're right. It's inevitable that people are going to have pain in your life, but pain, difficulty, suffering, whatever word you want to use, is an opportunity. A lot of people would do everything possible, maybe even go against their values and who they are as a person in order to keep pain out of their life and stay in their comfort zone. But when we can flip the mindset to say that the pain, the struggle, is an opportunity for learning and growth, is when true freedom and creates a pathway to joy and happiness in our life. Having done that battle, having done that courage.
Beautiful. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree, and with that, it breaks free, right? Freedom is very important after you surpass the battle, right? Because, like I said on the TEDx, it's it has a hidden gem to really push through pain, right? It has a message,
Mm-hmm.
the message of your mess, what it is, right? Because that's the purpose of the pain. When you're messing to a message, and the message is the purpose. It could be like unconventional, right? Instead of following your passion, I don't know. There are people that they don't know their passion yet or their purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then follow your pain and follow like the unconventional. You know, I think pain helped me a lot to reshape the social narrative, right? What's really success? I redefine success to me. That's why I feel very lighter, I guess, because I follow my own definition of success, not the social narrative that it was imposed.
Yes. I mean, that's why, the intro to this podcast, we talk about success as you define it for yourself. And the way I define success for myself is that I'm successful when I live out my why every single day of my life. There's no financial statement in that sentence.
This what you
Right?
just said, it's can you please repeat that, because it's really amazing. It's really worth it if you repeat that phrase.
Yeah, I've said it many times on interviews I've done on other podcasts and so forth, is that success for me, the way I define it for myself, and is that, and I ask myself this question every time I go climb into bed and put my head on the pillow to go to bed at night, is did the activities and the thoughts and the beliefs and everything involved in my day serve others? Did it generate value? Did it fulfill the reason why I was created?
Beautiful, me encanta, and there is no financial statement on that
No,
definition. That's what I
no.
wanted the most.
It may be involved
Yeah,
in my day, but it's not. It sees finances and money as a tool,
exactly.
right? It might be using finances as a tool in my day,
Hmm.
but it's not the main thing. It's not the mission and purpose of why I exist.
Yeah, that's why we get along very well, and you have that purple energy and the blue energy, right? The spiritual, no wisdom. You go, you're have kind of like the yin and the yang, right? The two energies, the feminine, the masculine,
Mm-hmm.
the blue. That's why we get along, huh? Now I know. Muy bien, Andre. Stop.
We'll get into
It's up.
we'll get into that a little bit later. So you left the corporate world,
Yes.
went and became an entrepreneur. What was involved in that decision? Why? What drives you to be an entrepreneur? Do you feel like being an entrepreneur is going to enable you to maximize your impact
Absolutely.
with what you do?
Oh, yes. I think the freedom of my own choices. I got to make, how do I want to make the business model? I want to design a business model that probably doesn't exist. And I love
Mm-hmm.
it. And there is no roof for that. I mean, I can do whatever I want. I mean, there is no limit. Probably the limitations is it's probably if I don't continue, even if I fail many times. Why? That's a limitation. But if I continue, then I'm going to be happy, especially because I get to choose who I want to work with. And
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion, it's not even the journey what it matters or the results. It's actually the company along the way and along the journey. I am a people lover, and that's why I'm an entrepreneur. That I get to decide my own rules, my own decisions, my own values. Right? I don't want to live on our
Right?
values. Oh my God, these company values are. No, thank you so much. That's beautiful, but no, I'm not going to be that value for the paycheck. Thank you so much. I'm just not feeling that way. That's why, and I want to impact other lives. Yes, I want to be
Well,
unconventional.
it's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on to the podcast because to me, you're a living, breathing example. The model I use in my coaching, I talk about it all the time on this podcast. It's about the simple equation x plus y equals z. Substitute the words be, do, and have for those three letters, right? So joy, happiness, and success can show up for you every single day if you start with your being and then align your doing with your being, and then you get to have joy, happiness, success every single day of your life, right? So you went on this journey, you found your being, and you said, that's what's important to me, and I'm going to wrap, if you will, I'm going to wrap a business around the being.
Mm-hmm.
And the joy and happiness of my being is people. It's the relationships. It's the connection. So that's going to be at the forefront of what I do. And then I'm going to pick and choose different things out of business to surround myself, per se, surround my being uh, to go and serve others through my business.
Exactly. Well,
And to me, that's just a tremendous example of the way life should be, right?
yes. I think for us, it is like that, right? And I think you had the right words, because the main reason why I started my entrepreneurial journey was not only because of pain, it was because I get to be instead of doing. Right now in companies, they ask you to do a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And when I try to be generous, I couldn't. I couldn't be me. Therefore,
Yep.
that's why I love being, an entrepreneur, an investor, and get out there. And I found companies because I love to multiply the couple of the unconventional ingredients of my being as a company leader.
Yeah, and it's not to say that everybody should become an entrepreneur. The point here is if you don't become an entrepreneur and you go into the corporate world, you really need to choose a company whose culture or has a culture that allows your being, who you are, to exist and thrive within the company. It's no different than a marriage. You want to find yourself a spouse that in the culture of the two of you in this marriage, you can be, right?
Absolutely.
Nobody's trying to change you. We're creating a culture and an environment in this marriage that allows you to be who you are,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
right?
Mhm.
And it's the same thing with a company. Is when you go through the interview process, find yourself a company who has a culture that you feel really good that you're going to be allowed to be who you are. Now, that's all easy to say. You still got to do the work to understand who you are.
Mhm.
to understand your being in order to make that proper and right choice for yourself. If you don't do that work, if you don't do that introspection, then it's really going to be difficult for you to make that right choice.
Absolutely. I think being humble to recognize what we need to work on in our shadows, I think that's going to just light up your journey, right? Being humble. Oh my God, what a noble fruit, right? It's sweet. It's being humble of accepting, hey, maybe I thought I was this, but I'm not that generous, right? Maybe I do have a couple of shadows. Maybe I do, you know, I think, being humble is just the best friend you can have, the best advisor ever.
So you came out of attempt number one at a business
Oh, yeah.
to create the business that you have today, Mundoh Designs.
Mm-hmm.
And so the doing that you're doing around your being is centered around marketing,
Branding
really branding, telling the story.
through the business.
I mean, that's a journey you and I went on in working on my website, was telling the Andy McDowell story
Mm-hmm.
of who is Andy McDowell. What do you think? What are the critical elements for any company or any person that's trying to brand themselves? What are the most critical things they need to get right to do it well?
Now,
So is it authenticity? What is it?
I think authenticity is one of the key elements because in a world where everything seems to be industrial, right? Like everything is same. When you are authentic, you really get to be different from others, right? But especially branding, let's understand what's really branding all about, right? Because people talk about branding, but what's really branding all about, right? And branding, they say, right? They say that branding is what people say about you when you are not in the room. Branding is your 24/7 ambassador. Branding is how people perceive Andy. It's all the effort that you make.
But how they experience you or
Exactly.
experience the company,
Yeah, and your
and
why.
what level of trust is there?
And your why. So if you're able to speak truth, and especially present yourself instead of a website, you build a window of a journey, of an experience, and they can really see your soul through the visuals, right? Through the colors, through the music. They can even experience music and they are not really listening to music, right? So who is Andy in visuals? You don't have to speak, right? But if I want to do an Andy through the visuals, then I have to find your colors. What do you want to provoke? What are your emotions? So I do believe like the first key of branding, if you want people to perceive and you want to engage with the visitor, you want to make sure that they choose you over others and that they do not ignore you and that you stand out. It's really explain your why without even explaining the why with words. That being said, it should be with the videography, storytelling, colors, the texture. Is it 3D? What really are they?
The colors.
Color
So
is essentials and your
for the listening audience, you heard her talk earlier in our conversation about the purples in the blues when it comes to me.
Yeah.
But each of the colors in the color spectrum, what would you say, evokes or
represents, evokes
represents certain qualities, certain values, certain things about
things.
life. So early in our process together, that was part of our conversation is, okay, what colors best represent who Andy McDowell is? And it's through that conversation. I already had blue in my logo, but we brought purple as well into the mix
Yes,
in the design because of what purple represents.
exactly. Because the question in branding is, okay, let's find out your DNA, right? What are you really made of, right? Because when you know what are you made of and what emotions do you want to provoke, then you're able to choose photography, colors, imagery, video, the way you talk. That way, if Andy wants people to feel that, what do you want to provoke to your audience, Andy?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
From there, then you build your branding. From the emotions the company wants to provoke, right? What's that archetype? What's the personality? Are you just going to be, oh my God, that professionalism? Everything is blue, okay, white, just a plain picture in the middle, that's all. Can you, can you please let me know, really? And if I'm going to choose you, I want to know your shadows. I want to know how you surpass that. I want to know the truth. I failed more than 10 times and now I have 5 companies, right? And I'm having this serenity feeling, which is not, it's actually for me better than happiness. Because things
Mm-hmm.
are actually, I'm sad right now, but I'm serene, right? Because things in life happens to you. So branding, that's what it is. How people's going to perceive you, especially the emotions. That's very important. The questions of why people is going to choose you over others. They buy your why. 80% of consumers, they buy your why. They don't buy what you do. That's why it's
Yes.
important. That's
And it's not this. It's not well understood either. I mean, in my coaching, I tell leaders, if you want engagement from your team members, you've got to explain the whys. Right? Oh, we're rolling out a new business strategy. Okay. Don't just tell me the new strategy. Tell me why. Because it's within the why that I'm going to find where I'm going to fit, where I'm going to contribute
exactly. Find
to the outcomes from this new strategy.
Yeah, you find the North Star of your company. And that's what people wants to, wow, this is why he's doing that. And now I'm
Mm-hmm.
following that category of niche because you are removing a suffering from my own internal world. I'm your niche. I'm your target audience. And now you know why you're doing this because you care about me. And yes, you can make money, but they will choose you why you do it because you care about them and because you have
Mm-hmm.
been there before. So when you choose the why, then you need to really choose the niche, right? Narrow it down. You're not a good fit for everyone. I'm not either, right? So when you fall in love with the problem in branding, that's when you are able to transmit and transcend the screens in this digital world. And you're going to be more than human than ever.
So it's difficult for a person to understand if their words and actions as they're attempting to execute against the strategy to understand whether they really are making an impact if they don't understand the why, right? So you tell me what the strategy is and I'm going to go out and try my best to, in my activities for the day, do them in such a way that it's executing or moving the company forward.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't explain the why behind it, they have no litmus test, if you will, to understand if they truly are doing that. Because they might be heading off in a direction way over here when you want them to be going over here.
Yeah.
And they don't know that the difference between the two unless you describe the why of what we're doing so they can assure that they're in alignment
Mm-hmm.
with the direction that you want them to go.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly if you're creating a strategy or words that are not very specific.
Exactly. Like it's more abstract.
There's a tendency, particularly with really large companies, in an effort to try and create this big strategic umbrella over the company, they get very vague.
Yeah, I've been there before with these
right?
companies. That is correct.
No, I have too.
It's from the story doing, right? They say that it's a storytelling first, then it's a storytelling, from storytelling to story doing. But for me, when I build brands, it's a story being, right? So when you land on a page, on a website, you are actually not landing on a website.
Mm-hmm.
On that story being of something that you are also looking for. So if I'm your target audience and I land there and I'm like, wow, I want to be in this journey that is going to remove my suffering. And I see that in the imagery, in the story being of the website, right? So that's what I buy. And then, yes, I can see your authority panel and I can see your clients and your testimony and
Mm-hmm.
case studies, blah, blah, blah. But if everything is the same, I don't feel special. And I want to make sure that you are a story being, right? You live on your values when you do branding.
And build the trust level,
Yes, and sometimes,
right? I know. Every time I'm going to Seoul or every time I'm going to Andy, I'm going to get this kind of conversation or this kind of result because I know the brand very well from my own past experiences with Andy or Soul.
yeah, and you're confident to show who
Mm.
you are to your clients. So confident that they cannot say no to you because you do believe in what you want, how you want it, and why are you going to be the best choice for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know yourself, your personality, your values, your why, and you explain that through the visuals so well that they don't even have to ask you what you do and if you want the right
Right.
choice. They already see that importance. You put them on a special place when you take care of your visuals. If not, it's like, no,
Mm.
I don't care about this. Oh, then if you don't care about the visuals, you don't care about me because you are presenting me, yourself, and your services in a way that is really not special.
Yeah. On this part of conversation, this way because we're going to move on to other topics. Value comes in different shapes, sizes, and colors, right? And so you could put a website or a marketing slick or whatever together that gives the person kind of the facts. And if it giving them the facts brings them a certain level of value
Mhm.
to their time, right? Through reading your website or reading the marketing slick or whatever. But if you don't incorporate the other shape, sizes, and colors that value comes in what it is that you're presenting, then you've not only missed a huge opportunity, but you've also missed the ability to really have a strong connection with your client because they understand. Uh, okay, I'm going to buy this product from you, and it's going to solve a particular problem that I might have, but it says nothing about my experience with you, which is also a value.
Exactly. Mhm.
And yes, they may decide to do business with you and you find out what that experience is like having gone through the process. But you didn't do anything that helps them to make the decision in the beginning to do business with you because you didn't present or offer up the different color, shape, size of value that you offer besides the specifics of your product or service.
Excellent. Excellent reflection. I agree 100%. Yes.
All right, let's talk. Let's talk about some things that you're doing in the world. One of those is that you're trying to bring emotion into the culture of a company and make it part of the dashboard, if you will, that what leadership is looking at. In other words, you're saying, I have a company full of people, and I'm recognizing the fact that people are more than just their mind. They also have emotions and a heart. And I want to understand where they are today with that. I get all the financial reports. I can understand where the mind is because the mind is working on the
Right.
processes and the
Yeah.
financials and everything else that we deal with is typically described in the business, but nothing about emotions.
Absolutely.
How are my people feeling? How are they doing?
Well,
Can you talk a little bit about the tool that you developed to help leaders with that issue?
yes, absolutely. Well, first of all, I'm actually doing that myself, or being the company I want to see in others be, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I have created, it's actually a, a model, right? That's very horizontal, and we're all the same. We're all equals. We make the same. And I'm just the chief empathy officer, right, or the growth, or the, the woman that brings the projects to the table and have the vision. But everyone, it's their own owners, and I want to make sure that the women that works with me, not for me, and with our clients, they are able to feel freedom, right, and they have their
Mm-hmm.
own rules. So what I do is be holocracy, right? That's the first thing. And then I in my dashboard I measure success not about the number of projects or websites or apps that we have built, but the number of women that we have impacted, or the number of brands that now we turn them into conscious brands, or calm technology brands. Or that's how I measure success. We train refugee women. We are building brands that are uh, more aware of the social impacts, right? So every time I get somebody on board, I help them redefine their why, or get deeper on their why. And that's how, with the questions, when we build their websites or we run them, they are like, where is my social impact? Where is my positive mark here? What I want to be remembered for, right? So that's how I help them, through questions that will really make a difference in their receptions. So that's how I help them. I talk to them about, hey, what else do you do? Why? So that's pretty much it. I even, with my team, we coach more than 200 women, right, in life coaching and in business, so they can have skills and have their own businesses. And right now, what I do is, every time somebody chooses us, they're choosing to train another woman, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
we founded another company, a VA company for women that have been abused. So we want to make sure that we only choose conscious leaders that we can connect them to be their VAs, right? So they can really concentrate on making sure that that leader lives on their purpose instead of the task. So it's a little bit of
Well, your client becomes a team member, right? If it's a conscious leader
Mhm.
and you're bringing a VA that's coming from that background to work with the leader has the opportunity to be a teammate with you and your company
Yeah,
in providing an environment for that person to grow.
exacto. That's why I call myself a zero.
And a mentor, right? Say, this is a conscious leader, here's a model for you to look at, understand, and follow for your own life.
And I don't exactly, Andres. That's I call ourselves zebras companies, right? Black stripes, which is the money. Yeah, we all need money
Mm-hmm.
as a vehicle, but also the white stripes too. What is the social impact, the measure, right? And then if they work in community, I think communities are absolutely the key of every entrepreneurs, right? To really be part of communities.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, that's how I do.
Well, we're all connected. Whether you believe it or not, you're part of a community. just whether you recognize it or not.
Like,
And are you intentional to find communities that whose culture and organization serves your growth?
yeah, and what I love the most is to show my clients. I think we lead by example, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you tell your story and what you do as the owner of the company, sometimes they do like the practice and then they emulate the practice. And I do the same. Hey, can you share a good practice of your business? Even if it's not about branding, right, or website design, but let me know. Let's share what you do. And for now, I had designers on the team, and I'm like, they want to have their own dreams. So one day I'm like, what is it that you want? I mean, I know that you work with Mundo, not for Mundo, but do you want to have your own brand? Well, let's have a conversation once a week and you let me know what you want and I help you have your own brand. We're not going to be competitors. There is room for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
You can still bring clients with your brand to Mundo, right? That's how you keep them engaged as well.
Yeah, to have that abundant mindset. Well, unfortunately, our time is coming to a close. If somebody wanted to reach out and continue the conversation or have their website redesigned or just want to hang out
Yeah, if they want to
virtually or in person, what's the best way that somebody can reach out to
to
connect with you?
Argentina, come to Argentina for a glass of wine and beautiful dinner. Now, if that's not possible, then
A nice glass of Shiraz and
Exacto. But no, I believe LinkedIn for me, it's awesome. WhatsApp, I'm very close. I don't like to be just with the email. So I think LinkedIn or WhatsApp is always very good to me. I love to chat, Zoom calls, get on my Calendly and just grab some
mm-hmm.
coffee.
So one last question for you. It's a question we ask every single guest. So you're no different from that perspective. Um, and that question is, what do the words generate your value mean to you?
Generate the roots that really sustains you with peace and joy and everything else is gone. That's what it means.
We inherently have value. The question is, do you want the world to see it? Through your words, actions, products, services, experiences.
Yeah, of course, I want them to actually not see it,
Mm-hmm.
but feel the change, feel the value in their bodies, minds, and air and energy. I don't even want them to see that. I want them to feel the value that I'm able to give them
Mm-hmm.
from a humble perspective and experience. Gracias.
So for the listening audience, I'm going to let you give me a grade on how well I did with my questions and conversation for you to see the sauciness that is Soul Alsina. It was just an absolute delight of an experience to work with you in rebranding and building my new website. And for the listening audience, if you ever decide to do business with her, you're in for a heck of a ride.
Thank you so much.
You really are.
I have goosebumps and feeling that emotion. Like my grade to you it would be a thank you. Thank you, being very grateful because you just generated value in these conversations more than an A class, right? So like we say, I would say that the value to me and the grade is to open the sky of possibilities of the question,
Mm-hmm.
the awareness, the consciousness. So I felt absolutely open and oh my God, I mean, I felt like I was in the living room of my house just reading a book and with music, with jazz music. Like it was very exquisite. And thank you for caring and taking care and protecting my feelings and my life, right? Because I was
Mm-hmm.
sharing that. So I think you welcome my vulnerability in a way that I truly am grateful for. So that's my great to you.
Well, it's the way it should be.
Yes, yes.
To generate the most value that you can in a person's life is to make them feel seen, right? And to create an environment of safety such that true vulnerability shows up. Soul comes out. SOUL, the soul comes out,
Gracias, sí.
right? And you can see the true diamond that the person is. That's why I use the diamond a lot in my analogies, in my coaching or whatever for a human being is. You are a diamond, it has a lot of different facets. And it's the job of the person sitting across the table from you to ask questions and engage in conversation with you such that that diamond rotates and you can see all the facets.
Beautiful.
That's what all the good interviews do. Anyway, this episode comes out during the holiday season, so we hope that you, the listening audience, are having joy, happiness, and safety in your life as we go through this holiday season around the world.
Peace.
And it's a great time to pull out that piece of paper and start thinking about and being introspective about what 2024 looks for you, about your being, what you need for your being to thrive and to be shown to the world. I always take the time between Christmas and New Year's to pull out my life plan, take stock in what it is that I've learned about myself and about the world over the last 12 months. And does any of what I've learned impact my life and my life plan? Do I need to make adjustments? Just something to think about. Anyway, we're here every week with a great episode with a great guest of the caliber of Soul. In others, we invite you to hit that subscribe button. Make sure you don't miss an episode. And with that being said, have a great day. Have a great week. Wear your colors. And I kind of wore some of mine today. This is a little bit more maroon than purple, but
Yeah.
it's got some blue and purple in it. And for those that are watching on video, Soul wore her blue hat. She always wears her blue hat whenever we
Yes.
have a conversation out of respect for me and what it is I offer in the world in terms of colors, the blue and the purple. So there are websites out there that you can go out there and see the descriptors for each of the colors and what things that each of the colors evokes. If you want to go out there and figure out what your colors are for your brand. Anyway, have a great day, have a great week, and we'll see you next time right here on the Generate Your Value podcast. Take care. Thank you so much for joining us today on this episode of the Generate Your Value podcast. If you find our conversations to be useful in your life, I invite you to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss an episode.
You can find me online at Instagram at _Zach.Levy, Facebook, and LinkedIn.
For information on my coaching services, visit my website at www.generateyourvalue.com. You can also find me and my company on LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Simply search for Generate Your Value on those platforms.
Once again, thanks for joining us for today's podcast, and we invite you to generate your value in this world.